classy text, which is going to look something like this. So we'll get started. The first thing we need to do is create a new file, and I'll use a width of 400 pixels and height of 400. Just make sure your background color is black. The next thing we want to do is create a new layer. So if we go into layer and then select new and new layer, just call it, the layer name doesn't really matter. And then the next thing we want to do is select our text tool, and I use the settings Arial black for font and a font size of 200 points. And so I'm just going to click here and then type in a letter. You can type in a word or phrase, it's up to you. So I'm just going to use the letter Y. If it's not quite where you want it, you can use the arrow tool to just drag that around to the center somewhere. Now with this layer still selected, we want to add a noise filter. So if we go to filter, noise, and then add noise, and if it says rasterize layer, you just want to hit OK to that. And then we're going to use an amount of 150 distribution of uniform and make sure monochromatic's ticked. So I'm just going to hit OK there. Now the next thing we want to do is add a crystallize filter by going into filter, pixelate, and then crystallize. And then we want to hit a cell size of probably 3 or 4, so I'll just use 4, then hit OK. Then the next thing we want to do is find the edges by using another filter, stylize, and then find edges. Then after that we want to invert the colors by going to image, adjustments, and then invert, or you can press Ctrl I. Then that will give us that looking effect. The next thing we want to do is rotate the image by going into edit, transform, and then rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Then after that we want to add a Gaussian blur filter by going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. I want to do a blur of about 0.8, just there, and then hit OK. The next thing we want to do is add a wind effect, so we go into filter, stylize, and then wind, and we want to do it from the right and select wind, so we hit OK. Now we want to do that once more, so we just can go back into filter and then select wind here, and then that will do it a second time for us. The next thing we want to do is fade the wind by going into edit and then fade wind, and we want to select a capacity of around about 80%, so 83 will do. Next thing we want to do is flip the text back to an upright position, so you go into edit, transform, and then rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. Then after that we want to create a new layer by going into the layer, new, and then new layer, and then just hit OK. And then for this we want to fill the background with a light blue type color, so just pick any sort of light blue, doesn't really matter. Then hit OK, and then we need to use the paint bucket tool to apply that. And then after that we want to blend that by using an overlay. So if we click there and then select overlay, then that should wrap around the text like that. For a bit smoother looking effect, we want to remove the capacity to around 90%, so just say about 91, looks good. The next thing we want to do is create another new layer, doesn't matter what the name is, and then we want to select our original Y whilst holding Control, and then that will give us a selection there, and then re-click back on our new layer box. Then we want to fill this selection with a lot darker blue, so just select any sort of dark blue, and we use the paint bucket tool, and then we want to reset the colors by pressing D and then swap them around, so I'll have the white as the background color. Then we want to add a neon glow filter, so we go into filter, artistic, and then neon glow. And the settings I used was glow size -20, glow brightness 18, and the glow color, I just select the most top right hand corner blue, and then just selected OK. With the layer still selected, we want to add a new filter, a plastic wrap filter. So if we go into filter artistic and then plastic wrap, the settings I used here, you can change them. I used 13 for strength, 15 for detail, and 6 for smoothness. So I'm just going to hit OK there. Then you want to apply a blend-in mode of pin light, and then that will give you that snowy looking effect. For more of an icy looking effect with the layer 2 selected, you can right click and select blend-in options, and then apply some of this like outer glow, bevel, emboss and contour, and then that will get you a natural, more looking or 3D type icy effect. Okay, now finally we want to add some sparkling touches, so we're going to select our paintbrush tool here and then click our brush up here, and then we want to load up the assorted brushes and then just hit OK. Then we want to scroll down to the sparkly one, which is number 50, or which is this one here. It should come up to say star brush small, and we'll change that pix to about 25. We'll actually use 50 for this example. So if we click in the grey section, that should remove the menu, and then we want to make sure that we use white as the foreground color, so you can press D and then X to change those, and then we just add the finishing sparkling touch wherever you think you want it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Hope this tutorial's helped you. So look out for more free tutorials on our website at lovetohelp.com. That's LUV2HELP.com. Okay, good luck.